I'm only allowed to have 1 hour of gaming a day. My mom's so old school.
Yeah, totally.
Old school? Really?
Challenge accepted. Accepted.
Let's start the show. Like a Bosch. High-tech pro. Like a Bosch. Smart machine. Like a Bosch. What's up, teens? Like I'm baking smart. Like a Bosch. Fancy art. Like a Bosch. We're complete. Like a Bosch. All is neat. Like a Bosch. I'm riding heat. Sustainably. I navigate. Like a Bosch. Never late. Like a Bosch. Then checking in. Like a Bosch. Safety wins. Like a Bosch. I watch my kitchen. Like a Bosch. Hungry kitten. Like a Bosch. Such bad air. Like I take care. Get in the car. High-tech star. High-tech star. High-tech star. Front radar. Safer car. I own that place. Like a Bosch. Oh my gosh. Hot space. Yes, you won. High-tech mom. High-tech mom. High-tech mom. High-tech mom. High-tech mom. Live like a Bosch with many intelligent, connected, and sustainable solutions. From
Hello, welcome everybody. We'll talk again about mothers later on in the presentation. I guess the video raised the expectations a little. I'm very glad to be here, I have to say. Heard only good things in the last years from my colleagues here, so they kind of raised the bar in terms of expectations. Already had some people who attended the conference a couple of times review the slides, so we have already some iterations adapted. Still to know a bit where to focus on later on in the presentation, I would need your help at the beginning, at least. So maybe you could raise your hand to a couple of questions. So who's a data scientist here in the audience? Okay, many, not unexpected. Who's a manager of data science teams? So managing teams with data scientists. Okay, not as many. Data engineers? Okay, and last question, who works in his current role and with the current company for more than 3 years? Okay. This is exceeding my expectation, because I mean, talking about culture and data science, I think we're talking about data science as a topic which is subject to rapid change. So I thought it would be even less people, but I guess that's also the challenge we have as Bosch Power Tools, because you know we're coming from a legacy which was purely mechanical. Then we try to add some mechatronics, software engineering, but it's still for us a challenge to get into the data-driven mindset, especially also in the business teams, which are still mechanically driven, if you see it later on. Plus the rapid change we are in makes it even more tricky. I personally was in electrical engineering before and am in the data topic for 3 years now. And the biggest difference I see compared to embedded drive system development, electrical drives, embedded systems. Sometimes I was reading books which were like 5 years old, and I thought, okay, wow, that's what's really a cool learning. And now in data science, I think you can throw your books away if they are older than 2 years. And this makes it especially challenging. And one part of that was already presented yesterday. So one puzzle piece to foster the new data culture is continuous learning, which was shown by my dear colleagues yesterday during the Data Summit. And today I would like to give you a glimpse on what Bosch is and what we do, first of all, but then also where we stand in terms of our data journey and what's still ahead of us. So looking forward and already starting with the first slide, which is a bit an overview of the Bosch Group. So as you can see here, invented for life, you might have heard that slogan already. Also the mission statement, to spark enthusiasm with the products we do. And I think this holds true for us as a data science team as well, because also we want to spark enthusiasm and improve the quality of life for our users in coming up with innovations, as you will see later on, but also for our internal associates to make their work life easier. And also, especially in times like these, being sustainable, conserving natural resources is of course also a big topic, which is in the scope of our data science team. Some facts and figures of the whole Bosch group. I don't want to go into the details. You can see it's a huge group. Daniela yesterday brought up the number from these 400 associates or more. We have 38,000 software engineers and also quite some people working in data science, which is of course great because this gives a lot of opportunities in cross-exchange, lessons learned. For example, we have some corporate initiatives coming up with a framework for how to define a data strategy. Also in terms of data cataloging, we will come up with so every division has a data catalog, and then to come up with a catalog of catalogs, this is quite nice. Also the Bosch Center for Artificial Intelligence, for example, with multiple locations, makes it easier within the Bosch group to exchange experience and to avoid some pitfalls. But still, it's also a danger to work in a company like that, because you might think you have all the knowledge in-house, it's a huge group, and sometimes you're missing the outside-in perspective. And also, I'm not a good role model for that, because I started my career in the Bosch group, I'm still in the Bosch group. Different roles, different countries, different divisions, but still not a role model. So it's even more valuable to be here and get also the outside-in perspective. So feel free to also challenge later on, because we're definitely not at the end of the journey. So the Bosch group is clustered in 4 units. And also yesterday, Daniela was asking the question, what do you think of when you hear Bosch during her presentation? And also I was talking to this with Jovan, one of the sponsors of the data science conference, and he said, I think of my mother. Because, as you can see here, so actually, now looking at it, I think it's a man, but still, don't worry. I thought it's a mother. Cooking on the Bosch stove, using Bosch oven, Bosch fridge, this is what a lot of people think about. But also, I mean, this also gives a great opportunity for AI topics. So for example, an oven which can learn, how you like your pizza based on your previous pizza baking experience. But also in the other groups, I mean, mobility solutions, of course, autonomous driving is a big topic for us, but a lot of people don't realize Bosch because it's always hidden in, Tesla, BMW, you name it. Industrial technology, so equipping other companies with connected industries, also very, very cool data topic, a lot of data generated. Energy and building technology, maybe pointing out smart home solutions, also video protection systems, very nice. But of course, today would like to focus on power tools, which is also part of the consumer good division. So what do we do at Bosch Power Tools? It's basically 4 bigger product categories. The power tools itself, like think of a screwdriver, one of our high runners, angle grinder, rotary hammer, also the garden tools, like lawnmowers, hedge cutters, accessories. A lot of people forget it's one of our biggest business units, which also fit to competitor products, by the way. So circ saw plates, sanding paper, and also measuring tools. And the latter 2 are specifically interesting for us as the data science team, because in accessories, it's really a deep manufacturing process and a lot based on experience. So sometimes we don't understand the physical, connections, but also we collect a lot of data. So there's a huge potential for us to improve the products further with data analytics. And also measuring tools, the difference to the other power tools is that the result of your work is data, not a hole in the wall, but data. And of course, this product category like wall scanners, laser rangefinders gives a big potential for us as the data science team. Same figures, but this time for the power tools division. We're just a smaller piece of the whole Bosch group, but still, you see 21,000 associates scattered across the world. So big, and we're still an international, worldwide acting company, which also makes it interesting. Our main counterparts in data at the moment are in Shanghai, Chicago as well. and also Latin America. We divided the world in 6 regions. I think we still have to wake up the other ones, but these 3 are definitely forerunners in our data journey. Also, you can see record year last year. So COVID was really, people didn't go to restaurants, couldn't go on vacation. So they invested their money in their homes. And for this, of course, you need power tools. So also this gave us the opportunity to more than double our data science team size last year, which was also great. There may be also maybe another hand raise. Who knows what blue power tools stand for and green? Who knows the difference? Oh, it's showing already, but who had known the difference? Okay, because okay, not so many. I'm surprised. But as you can see here, the blue ones are for professional users, and the green ones are for DIY. And also, it's important for us as the data science team because we want the Pro brand to be connected with efficiency. So we want to make the Pro more efficient. And also, it's about 2 things mainly. It's the ease of use for power tools and also the safety functions. And as you can imagine, there are some, we have sensors in the tools. So coming up with safety functions, for example, is definitely in our scope and very interesting projects. DIY, it's all about innovation and coming up with innovative solutions which you need at home. So why do we even need the data culture at Power Tools, or what are the main drivers why it's so important for us? And I can tell you that this year will not be a record year for us, as you can imagine. Some factors coming together, which make it a bit more difficult for us. So an intuition could be, let's stop investing in data, or let's reduce the investment in the data topics. But the opposite is the case. We believe that only with data-driven teams and a good approach for that, we will be able to be competitive in the future. And I'll show you one example, which is really crucial for us, and also to match the user expectations. But to take you on a journey a bit, or some time-lapse milestones of the Bosch Power Tools group, it actually all started with a hair cutter. That was the first power tool. I mean, you could argue it's not really a power tool, but this was the beginning of Bosch Power Tools back in 1928. And I like the story behind also. So Bosch is known as a very social employer. So we had, I think, at least 30, 40, 50 years where there were free haircuts in our company because people were arguing the hair is growing during work. So you can also get free haircuts. Unfortunately, these times are over, but new times have come up. One of the lighthouse AIoT projects we had was the Indigo autonomous lawnmower, connected one, which came in the market 2017. And that was really a role model for also future models to come up. For example, with IoT features like, if it's connected, you could, for example, get the weather forecast, and then the lawnmower, if it's raining or if there's rain for the day forecasted, then it wouldn't mow. But also, as you will see later on, we have some AI features in that lawnmower, and for this, I think it's one of the important IoT use cases is to have an over-the-air update capability, because as you can imagine, you collect a lot of data. Also, next generations are being tested, developed, and this gave us the possibility to always update something. And I personally also have one, and that was really always a progress when in performance when there was an update. And now we are looking at the next big milestone in 2025, where we want AI to be included in all of our products, or AI has played a key role in the manufacturing or development of that product. So that's quite a big one. We are working on right now and getting ready for that. Also, I mean, if you think of Bosch, a lot of people think of Bosch as a good manufacturer and developer of things. So all in the physical world. But especially at Bosch Power Tools, we have a problem because developing the product, having the product, bringing it in the market, but then what? We don't know It's not a washing machine, because a washing machine, you know what it's going to be used for. Also, a car is pretty much foreseeable. You wouldn't believe what sometimes power tools are used for. And we didn't have a clue so far. So, having the insights to really customize designs, we didn't have so far. And IoT and also AI, of course, give us here a big opportunity. So we could close the loop. We wouldn't have to ask a lot of users anymore, do a lot of market research, but we would know it by data. And with the data flow, AI and advanced analytics would be able to help us to come up with even better products or services. Also, this I found interesting. So just 2 weeks ago, so manufacturing. We have 20 manufacturing plants at Bosch Power Tools, also around the globe. There's a so-called manufacturing execution system, which kind of like collects data from when the product or the material enters the plant until it leaves the plant. And there's a lot of messages sent between the lines, between the stations. And it's more messages than on Twitter worldwide. So 550 million messages in the Bosch plants and 500 million on Twitter, which is of course also great, because as you can imagine, in manufacturing, a lot is about efficiency, a lot is about also energy saving right now, but also about improving the product quality. Talking about connected tools and the data potential, we have millions of connectable tools already in the market. And you could think, for a classical power tool, what for? I would like to give you 3 examples why IoT makes sense for our tools. So one is, imagine you have a laser rangefinder, you have a project at home, you want to measure the dimensions of a room to get the materials you need. And with our Measure On app, for example, you can take a picture and then also automatically do the measurement distances and save it already in the picture, so you know the dimensions of your room and all the dimensions you need. And another example is, think of a professional construction worker who needs to maybe put in, 1,000 screws in a row. And for this, you could use the app saying, okay, this is the kind of screw I'm using, and then it would adapt automatically the tool settings to just press the button and have a brainless, very efficient work stream. And finally, it's also big data potential for us. So think about a couple of years ago, think probably 80, maybe 90% of our sales was offline. Means you go to a small dealer or in a multiple store and you bought your stuff. And already in the last years, this started to shift online. And of course, COVID, as you can imagine, was a big pusher for more online sales. And means we have our own e-shops. We go to marketplaces. We sell through pure players like Amazon, and also giving us a great potential for data analytics. So what have we already done to foster the new data culture? So one important milestone is also a couple of years ago, during the agile and digital transformation, we had 5 strategic pillars in our digital strategy. And the saying, organization follows strategy. Then for the first time, we came up with a dedicated big data and insights team, which we still have today. So I think that was quite an important milestone. Also, when it comes to data management and data strategy, as probably a lot of companies, we're coming out of the world here at the left. When we needed something, when marketing teams needed a dashboard, they approached their favorite agency. Agency would build, get a lot of CSV files, manual data transfer, would build a dashboard, very manual, nothing of this reused in other teams, proprietary infrastructure. So we decided 2 years ago to build up an data hub, which is basically an Azure-based cloud warehouse to get rid of the problem. So now our data engineers, and some of them sitting here, are working on sustainable professional data pipelines from the data sources we need for analytics. And then it will be stored on the data hub, and our data analysts and scientists will use this for, can be a simple dashboard, but can also be a sophisticated AI solution. And we are not at the end of the journey. So looking here at the right, we are missing some components, like, for example, a comprehensive data governance topic, data governance framework. Also, we want to have more self-service analytics. So we will see in a second, because we don't want to be the bottleneck as a central team. Also going more to no-code, low-code solution to open the door also to advanced analytics for a broader audience. And then also we are working and have already implemented a data catalog, for example. So in terms of AI use cases, we kind of work across the whole value stream. So starting from product development, marketing and sales, and tool experience. And why are these our focus AI use cases? Because these are the ones where we think we can create a measurable impact and support our overall business strategy. Because in product development, or in manufacturing and logistics, in the top swim lane, a lot is about operational efficiency and flexibility. Then in marketing sales, everything goes online, want to sell more direct, and also the efficiency there. And for tool experience, unfortunately, I cannot tell you too much because it's still in the development pipeline, and you will see it in the market, hopefully very soon. But here all is about innovation. So we want to drive innovation and solve topics which we had not been able to solve with classical algorithms. Just to give you a glimpse on the technology stack we use, constantly also reviewing, like sometimes it's buzzwords, sometimes something real is behind, like data mesh, lakehouse concept, delta architecture, are things which make us continuously improve our architecture. And the slide gives you a couple of the components of this. And also for partnering, we are very open. So we know we have a young, motivated team, but we need the partners to complement all the skills we need. So for example, I mentioned Microsoft. So the data warehouse is built on top of Microsoft. But also we said, let's work with AWS because they bring in the logistics competence as well, because they have it from the whole Amazon business. So yeah, we have selected some partners which are really bringing us forward as well. Then talking about scaling data analytics, we have two major programs which are very important for us. So first of all, the Data Ambassador program, where already 200 PT associates went through. It's basically a one-week boot camp where people learn the basics of data analytics. It's usually domain experts in data-intense areas. And the idea is that they can identify the use cases in their area and also speak the same language as we do and accompany the progress of the project continually and working with us. But they are not the ones implementing that. The ones implementing that are either our data scientists or for some more basic solutions, the data analysts, but not the professional full-time data analysts. We believe that in the business units, it's very crucial to have some data analysts who know how to use our data hub as a job enrichment. And this is something we are piloting right now. So some examples to make it a bit more tangible, what we were talking about or what I was talking about. So first one, I think really crucial, demand forecasting. A big problem is we have the big data warehouses here, the biggest one in Worms, Germany. And if you don't have the right tool in the warehouse, it costs you money because it's just lying there, inventories. But also, if some customer is interested and we don't have the right tool, then we lose some sales. So it's really important. And as you can see here, comparing the 2018 numbers and 19 to the last 2 years, the good thing is the demand is higher. The bad thing is it's much more volatile. So for us, it's really hard to do the demand forecasting. And as mentioned, we are in the middle of a major project to improve that. Also, an example out of manufacturing, Mexico in this case. Before we had a situation that somebody was standing at the end of the line, holding the tool at the ear and then saying good or bad. but you can imagine it's not a nice job. It's also error prone because of the fluctuation behind. And what we did then with our team, we came up with a solution which is based on unsupervised machine learning. It's already running now in Mexico and being scaled to our plants in China currently. Also can be overwhelming if you look at our product pages. What is the right tool for my job? And then to make it even more complicated, what is the right accessory for the tool? Also here we are working on assisting functions based on AI. Also NLP, so text mining, to give you one example, which was also presented by Nina and Pooja earlier this week. Can recommend the live session. It was recorded. So we crawl more than 300,000 user reviews every year from Amazon and other pure players. And we process this data through our NLP pipeline. And then this is the valuable outcome which our business teams use, because they can see what are the features of my tool where users are specifically happy, but what are features the users are not so happy with. So really valuable insights for next product generations. So one of the AI features of the autonomous lawnmower is object or obstacle detection. And of course, for most of the pictures here, you want the lawnmower to stop, at least for the upper ones. For the apple, I'm not sure. Some might say, okay, I don't care about the apple lying there. But here, you would definitely want the mower to move on. And based on some regression models, which were generated in the back end, we were able to transfer that on the embedded system in a simplified model, which does a fairly good job already in differentiating these obstacles. So what are the lessons learned? I'm a soccer fan, so I thought I use some soccer pictures to explain also some pitfalls we went in. Pep Guardiola is one of the most successful coaches, as you might know, and he was asked, because now we have Haaland from Norway, a striker. He coaches at the moment at Manchester City, but he also has been coaching Messi, and he was asked about a comparison. And then he said Messi was able to score goals alone, but Haaland needs a whole team. And transferring this to data science, what does it mean, scoring a goal in data science? And I think this has changed in the last years, because before, I would say 2016 to 2022, also in our organization, it was cool to show the AI portfolio. What have we done? You know, POCs, impressing some managers. And I think this could be done by a very, very small group of persons. But we also, for example, in the plant in Italy, some trainee was very talented, started to do an optical inspection of Circ-Saw plates. And an executive stopped by and then came back to the headquarters and says, hey, they use AI in Italy already, scale this to all the plants. And then we looked at it and found that it was not really running. So we used some not pre-trained models. The trainee was working together with an agency. We even had problems to get the source code. It was a very shaky hardware setup, also not integrated in the IT landscape. And yeah, so this of course doesn't work. And also having a lot of use cases in your AI portfolio, we believe it's the wrong solution. But what does scoring a goal mean today? I think this has changed, because what we want to reach with AI, and this is also why the portfolio is kind of limited, we want to achieve a real measurable business impact. So having an impact on top line or bottom line. And this we believe is only possible with a whole team. So first, it sounds like Messi outperforms Haaland, but if you look at it in more detail, I think it's definitely not the case. And also, talking about role flexibility, what happens if Barcelona, or now Paris, loses the ball? What does Messi do? Usually head down, already thinking about the next offense action. What does Haaland do? He changes his role in microseconds, being the first defender of the team, because the team needs that. And this, from our experience, is also important to have some kind of overlap between the roles. In this case, data scientists may be building some of the data pipelines alone, because this might limit the team size. We still believe having a dedicated small team is key. And for this, I think sometimes data scientists also need to make their hands dirty for the sake of the team. And then also to point out some of the roles, data campaign manager. I mean, sometimes, as you have seen, we have a good data flow already, but when it comes to bringing AI into the products and training the models there, we saw that data campaigns are really crucial. So building up modified power tools with Raspberry Pi in there, maybe cameras in there, and then also planning what are the corner case things we also need to cover in order to get the target accuracy. There we saw that a data campaign manager can be quite a crucial role. And in terms of soccer, he's basically the one providing the ball. And then also solution architect and data engineers, or solution architects and DevOps engineers, something like providing the playing field. So without them, there's not even a playing field, no infrastructure you can work on. And also data engineer, and this is why I asked before, at least in Germany, I see that this is sometimes forgotten. So a lot of universities specializing on data scientists, but we believe that for every data scientist, you need 2 data engineers to be successful. And with that said, don't forget the hidden stars. Build one team, and thanks a lot for your attention.
So it's the time for questions. Do we have questions? So it seems, okay, there's one question there. I just wanted to ask one. Let's get the mic there. Here, the mic is coming.
Thanks for the talk first. Could you explain a bit more what the data campaign manager is doing? I never heard about this position before.
Good question. Actually, this is a role we've just come up with, and we introduced it in our measuring tools unit. He's basically or he or she is basically the one defining what hardware do we need to do that. So as I mentioned, a lot of times it's modifying our existing power tools, then maybe adding Raspberry Pis or doing the mechanical, mechatronics constructions. It's a mix of, I would say, IoT, embedded, and data science knowledge you need for that. And on top of that, of course, the data campaign manager organizes the data campaigns. So, what are buildings where we could use, what we could use for measurement? What are extraordinary corner case rooms or so to measure? And also at the end to conduct and organize the data campaigns. So hiring students maybe to do the measurements, or purchasing maybe somewhere data which you need for that. So this is the core. Basically the person taking care and ensuring that we have the data to train our models. Specifically really when it comes to bringing AI into our product. This is where we need the role most.
Any more? I can ask a few. Well, I have a practical question. Are you hiring data scientists at the moment?
Right now, not, but you need to know
why? Because you're developing. That's the logical thing to ask.
No, it's more. It's a pretty simple answer, because the business plan usually is finalized for us. So this year we doubled our team size. We're waiting for the finalization of the business plan at the end of the year, and we definitely expect to be hiring starting early next year.
On what level, so that we can envision your plans in fostering data?
On what levels? You mean hierarchy or roles?
Numbers, maybe.
Okay, numbers. Well, to be honest, I think next year, not only to the difficult business context, but also for consolidation reasons, it can be unhealthy to grow too fast. So I think this year we grew by, I don't know, it's more than doubled. So next year we plan to probably grow by, I don't know, 10-20%.
And what do you ask them? I mean, what do you want from the data scientists? What are requirements?
I think for data scientists, most important, of course, to be ready for this rapid change we see in the technology. Also to bring some good track records from similar projects, but definitely also the willingness to switch roles. So also sometimes getting the hands dirty. And I think that's most important for the data roles, for the data scientists to have some domain knowledge and to understand really the business problem, because you're working together with domain experts from the business teams. And also this requires some really good business understanding.
Yes, you have a very successful business before you introduced data science in it. What change have you seen when you start using data science? Mm-hmm. I mean, is it visible? Is it measurable?
Yes, for some parts, yes. So one use case, the demand forecasting thing, was really, even in 2020, we saw that in spite of the crisis, and you could think that you don't have any training data for COVID crisis, but even back then, the forecast by the machine was better than the forecast, which is very tedious to get all the input from all the sales teams. That was already better there. And this was leading to some really measurable business impact already. And also we saw in product engineering that some of the topics, we know it's a very important user feature, but so far we haven't been able to solve that. And with AI we were, and measuring innovation rate and also success of products, star ratings from our users, this also improved measurable.
Okay. Any more questions? Here, the microphone is coming, sorry.
Hi. Can you hear me? So just to let you know, you have open positions on your website for a data scientist and senior data scientist.
Thanks for the hint. I will check this right away. Maybe it just popped up.
Okay, any other? I provoked this question, so let's see. Okay, here's another one. Is the mic coming?
Hi. Do you ever have to deal with having an idea and seeing it in the future, but maybe having a problem with your customers visualizing it before you actually enter into the development part, let's say? Maybe like having to deal with a more old-fashioned mindset.
Yes, and this is why the cultural change is so important. We've definitely seen, these are impediments we see on a regular basis, stakeholders saying something, what they need, and then throwing it over the fence and then expecting it to get back ready. And this is part of our transformation here, also the cultural change we need to avoid that and to have a continuous support. Of course, we need to have some business and domain knowledge, but we also expect the same thing from our business stakeholders. And this is why also the programs like the Data Ambassador program are so important, and we see some progress already, definitely. But we know the problem.
Any more? Well, I can barely see, but I don't see any. Okay, yeah, there's a raised hand there.
I was wondering if with all the connected solutions and collecting so much data, customer privacy becomes an issue.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's definitely important to be GDPR compliant everywhere. So are we talking about really personalized data? Do we store user data, or do we have pseudonymized data, or even anonymized? In the latter case, it's not a big deal, but of course we want to have at least pseudonymized data to be able to come up with some personalization topics. And for that we have our internal data security group, where we continuously and proactively align what we can do and what not do. For example, I mentioned the Measure On app. If you install that, it's already outlined, what is the legal base, what is the purpose for data collection. There's an active opt-in in the settings. You can always opt out to collect the data. So yeah, but it's definitely very, very important.
Thanks.
Thank you. And if we have no other hands raised, I'll call it off. So that's it. Chris Wiess was from the Bosch Power Tools.
Yeah.
Was telling us about how they are fostering data.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.